I don't know, in February, March, we were able to go through the level to arrive really semi-finals, finals, require better performance than today. That's for sure. I know, I've been in semi-finals, finals, Champions League many times, and I know what is being required to compete and even at the stages.
Can this team make that progress this season?
Yeah, definitely. It can. If no injuries, it will happen, yeah, for sure, 100%. We have the will to do it. The manager is so clever, so that's why we do it.
So, Charlie Austin, good morning to you, my friend. Pep Guardiola saying that Manchester City are not Champions League contenders yet. Do you agree with that? What needs to improve if not?
I kind of understand what he's saying. It needs to be better than the performance that they showed last night. Listen, they won at the Bernabeu. But the semi-final finals, not now. It's just about getting through to the group stages. Look, the performance, they've gone there, they've won. Their main man has scored again, regardless of being a penalty. He was a nuisance all night. And overall, I thought it was a good away performance.
So, do you get the impression, though? I mean, look, you look at the Premier League table, they're 2 points off Arsenal. There'll be some City fans out there, and we'll speak to one shortly. I'm not sure what Nobbin's view is. We'll find out. But that say, look, they're just not their fluid best of what they were at 2 years ago. Definitely an improvement on last season.
Well, that's what I was saying to you earlier. Like, it's an improvement on last season. But, as you look at it, you do have to think they're going... people say they're going about their business quietly, but they're just doing what City do. Pick up points when others drop. They go about their business. They've got the best manager in world football. They've got the best number 9 in world football. And like I said, if he can keep all his players fit, injury-free, then they will be at the back end of every competition they're in.
A shining light this season has got to be Nico O'Reilly, hasn't it? 20 years old, Charlie. He's not a left-back. He came through the academy at Manchester City as a number 10. And somehow Pep got him into the team. I mean, he's got 2 fullbacks that are attacking midfielders, but it's working for him, isn't he? Playing for England, first Champions League goal, he scores it at the Bernabeu. How good is he, and where is his ceiling, do you think?
Well, I think he's had a phenomenal start to the season, but also I think that goes in the belief that the manager has in him. Like you say, he come through the academy as a number 10, but he's playing him in a fullback area, and it's like, that's a belief. I trust you to perform out of position, perform on the highest stage, perform week in, week out of the Premier League. He got his first Champions League goal last night, and like you say, English, we're not blessed in them positions, and there's every chance he continues to play, he's going to go to the World Cup.
And bearing in mind that City signed Ryan Aït-Nouri, and everyone just thought that's going to be City's left back for the next 5 years.
Well, everyone did, because what he was doing at Wolves was phenomenal, and people assumed that he should be playing for a better club. City took him, and everyone expected him to go through. Went to the Club World Cup, and it didn't really kind of work out for him there. But for me now, I kind of look at it and go, he cemented his place. Nico Rice cemented his place in the City starting 11 because he has the trust and the belief for the manager, and he trusts his own ability. And then the knock-on for that is the goal part at the end, which is the World Cup.
Yeah. Well, look, we know Manchester City can score goals. We know Erling Haaland can score 50 goals a season for Manchester City. But defensively, are there still question marks? Look, maybe not the best week to bring it up in terms of they've won at the Bernabeu, they've kept a clean sheet in the Premier League against Sunderland. But I'm thinking even back to just the Leeds game, 2-0 up, they get through that in the end. The game at Craven Cottage I was at, where they were 5-1 up and it finished 5-4.
Yeah, but the way I see it, they still won the game. I know he's talking about the defensive vulnerabilities in them certain games, but they still won. They've done enough to be in front of the opposition by a number of goals, and they couldn't claw it back. Regardless, the ascendancy's on, the momentum's with the opposition team. They get it back, they beat Leeds, and listen, they was 5-1 up against Fulham, but it was on, they was scoring it, and all the confidence was flowing through every Fulham player and all the fans in the stadium. But ultimately, look, they won. Do they need to improve in that area, and would they like a few more clean sheets? Yes, of course. Every team in the Premier League would.
Yeah.
But City are going about their business like we would expect.
Charles, I'm going to anoint you the Real Madrid president. What are you going to do with Xabi Alonso right now?
But he stays. He stays for me. Look, you'd expect them to qualify in the Champions League. You do, for whether it's automatic or through the playoffs. Regardless, I think they're going to qualify. They're still in the run for La Liga. Of course they are, but Barcelona are going strong. He stays for me. The biggest thing is, though, is it a manager they've employed or a coach? Because we talk about Bayer Leverkusen, the job he done there, he coached them players. But the players at Real Madrid, yes, they want to be coached, of course, but is it better for a manager to just almost guide them more than trying to coach them?
I mean, you know what it's like, Real Madrid. It's a different beast, isn't it? And there's a lot of heat on him, despite him being a legend at the football club and winning trophy after trophy. You lose at home to Celta Vigo. You win 2 games in 8. That just doesn't come without fire at Real Madrid.
But before we get on to that bit, I think that comes without fire if you're a manager of any Pep did that at Man City. Ruben Amorim does that at Manchester United. Slot does that at Liverpool. There's going to be fire, but Real Madrid, the expectations there, they win every week. They don't lose. They're the best team in the world, the biggest club in the world football. So look, their performances of late have not been great, but do I expect Real Madrid to turn it around? Absolutely. And Xabi Alonso to be in charge? Yeah, I do believe he still does.
They were out without so many first-team players, weren't they? I think, 6, 7... I mean, particularly the back, I think Rudiger was the only starter in the back four that they had last night in terms of what they've got available normally. And we should say, they're only 4 points off Barcelona. They've still got a Clásico to come. And they're in the top 8 in the Champions League table. So
what more can you ask for? They're in the top 8. If they was above Barcelona, that was it. But like you say, they was with injuries last night. Mbappe not playing is a massive myth. Mbappe plays for any team in the world that he doesn't play, he's going to be a massive miss. So look, they was under the cosh, I guess, at times. But as you look at it, do I think Real Madrid are still going to qualify in the Champions League? Yes. Do I still think they're going to run the La Liga title right to the end? Yes, I do. And can he turn it around? I do believe so for the players he's got available to him.
Yeah. Next up, Alaves. Loser Alaves. Different questions, weren't there?
There will be different questions, but you can't. I wouldn't imagine so. I wouldn't have thought so.
You wouldn't have thought. No. You wouldn't have thought Celta Vigo would come to the.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't. But Real Madrid have got the same old things. They're going to turn it around. They're going to turn it around. And right, so. But like I said, the players they have available, maybe some of them got to step up as well. It can't just be on the manager.
Yeah. Right. Sky Sports, as you know, have partnered with Finalysis, an app where passionate fans share their opinions on their club. And if you want to represent your club, scan the QR code, visit the Sky Sports app for more details, and we can speak right now to, as I promised, Manchester City fan Nobbins. A very good morning to you, Nobbins. Good to see you again. So come on, what's your view? You watch a lot of City, you watch every minute of Manchester City this season. Pep saying that if you play like you did last night, even with a win at the Bernabeu, in the knockout stages, you won't be contenders. Do you agree with him?
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of room for improvement. I think that we saw how relatively easy Madrid were able to play through our press. If you're pressing with Foden and Haaland as your two strikers and then Bernardo behind, there's no surprise that you get to the midfield and it's Nico Gonzalez all on his own trying to lock down the midfield up against Real Madrid's really dangerous counter-attacking players. I think there is still a fair bit of naivety in this relatively new City side. There's still a long way to go, but Pep did say himself that there's a chance that we get to the latter stages in February of this season and we could still have a really good chance. So I think that hopefully just comes down to experience and just getting used to this relatively new structure that we've been using since, I'm going to say, early November. So it's still early days, I would say, in that sense.
Nobbins, how far, though, do you think Manchester City are off what we are used to seeing from them?
I think maybe we're not going to see what we would expect City to be until next season, to be honest. I do think we need certainly a Bernardo Silva replacement once he leaves. I think that Nico G needs a bit more protection. I think that perhaps another option at fullback as well. So there's definitely room for improvement this year. But as for the really high expectations of what we know City can be, I would expect perhaps another summer transfer window with one starter, maybe another one.
Yeah, but Norwich, you say that, right, and what you're used to Man City being, what everybody's seen over the last few years have been phenomenal, and can they reach the heights of that again? It'll be interesting to see if they can. I don't think they will. Do I think they'll reign again? Yes, I do. But do I think they'll get to the heights that they was phenomenal. But as you look at it now, if you're saying they're not going to get there, are you saying that they're not going to catch Arsenal?
That's not the same at all. No, they can still win. They can still win the title this season. Look, we aren't the favourites, and there's no shame in accepting that and admitting that. Arsenal are definitely the favourites. There's no doubt. But I think I was on this show like a couple of weeks ago, and I was asked, "Is the title race already over?" When the points gap was like 7, and I said, "Well, that's just 2 draws, and then there's only one result in it, and they've got to come to the Etihad." So City can catch Arsenal. This isn't. I know Arsenal have been great this season, but they still haven't won the title yet. So there's always that little question mark with, will they just capitulate once again, and can City be there at the right time to pounce? So as long as we're there come around February, then City have a great chance to do that this season as well.
Yeah, look, Nobbins, like you, I watch a lot of Manchester City, right? And I was at the Leeds game, and I was at Craven Cottage, right? And I just get the impression, maybe like a lot of City fans, that there isn't that confidence that even at 2-0 up against Leeds at home, that you think, right, that's it, come on, see the game out. I think, just get it over the line like City have done so many times over the last few years under Pep Guardiola. Leeds get back into the game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was exceptional. The only reason they won that game is the board went up and it said 10 minutes for added time, and the Leeds players saw it and thought, blimey, we can't get through this. And look, the Craven Cottage game was crazy as well. I know there was a clean sheet against Sunderland, but do you get my point? It almost feels like a bit of a throwback to sort of Kevin Keegan football, where it's like, we'll score 5, but maybe if we let in 4, and maybe it doesn't matter if you're winning games. I don't know. How do you see it?
Yeah, I do think that generally speaking, City's defensive issues have been a little bit blown out of proportion. Like, we do have one of the best defensive records in the league and the Champions League, but I totally take your point that if we aren't going to win the title this season, it will be because of defensive frailty, certainly compared to Arsenal anyway. I think that the key in the Fulham second half and the Leeds game was the lack of control in that second half. The other teams came onto us, they pressed a bit more, they became more intense, and we weren't able to deal with it. It was very nice to see that for the most part against Sunderland and indeed against Real Madrid second half, we were able to control the game a little bit better than those performances. So, as I was saying earlier, this is still a relatively new City side. I'm sure this will come with time and experience and a bit more maturity as well from some of these players.
But come on, Nobbins, before we let you go, just very quickly, come on, how many points are you going to win the title by ahead of Arsenal then?
Oh, it'll go to the last day of the season, that's for sure.
Of the season?
Yeah, why not? Come on. We want an exciting race, don't we? If I say it's over like 2 months ago, then Sky loses viewers. So I'm doing you guys a favour by saying it's going to go down to the last day of the season.
Last day of the season, City in it?
No. No, straight to the point, no. No, I'm not. But on your defence, on your frailties that you're talking about defensively, look, they've gone to the Bernabeu, done enough, won the game.
Yeah.
Played Leeds, done enough, won the game. Played Fulham, done enough, won the game.
It doesn't matter if you win, does it?
So what... I don't really know what the panic or I think at times you try and pick faults out of City because majority of the times they are faultless.
Yeah. Nobbins, good call. Thank you very much. Speak soon, mate.
Points in that game.
Yeah, it's difficult to come here. It's a tough place to come, and the game gets how it gets. With loads of transitions, all of that. We could have quick had another goal. I was close on one in the second half. Jeremy was close a few times, but the game is a bit chaotic. We can't really control it, which is difficult, and it's difficult to come here. So in the end, we're super happy.
Do you enjoy it though? This rivalry with this great club, coming here and having these battles.
Of course, it's nice. This is a place you want to play. Look at this; it's incredible, and these games you want to play, and also with this new format in Champions League, you get to play more games, which is nice, and yeah, I like it.
Your boss might not say that it's nice playing more games, but you're in a good position now because at the moment, in the automatic qualifying column, rather than having to go into the playoffs, how difficult was it in the last campaign, doing that, playing more games, going into the playoffs, coming up against Real Madrid? Does it feel like this season you're hoping it's going to be slightly easier?
I mean, it could have looked completely different today if we didn't win. Because we lost against Leverkusen, so this win is really important. Yeah, when you think of it, like to be there. Now we got 2 more games, I think, left of the thing. Yeah, so Galatasaray. Yeah, so we need to finish strong now, and hopefully we can be in the first 8 because then we're through.
Michael, I thought you might have a question for him there. You were just gazing at him.
How much of a boost did they give you when you seen the team shift before the ball was kicked tonight? That obviously Mbappe, I know you've got big respect for him. How much of a lift did they give you and the boys in your dressing room?
Of course, we know about their injuries. We have a few as well, but they have many injuries, and of course you don't want anyone to be injured, but we expected him to play. I thought I was gonna play against Kylian, so of course when a playoff as Kylian don't play, you're not happy because you want to play against the best, but of course, yeah, it gives you a bit of psychological boost.
And how enjoyable was it to come up against Rudiger again and get the penalty and get your goal? Because it's always a nice battle when you see you two playing against it. Because he is, he likes to joke and make it aggressive, doesn't he? Pull faces, etc., etc. We've seen that in the past. You've got one over on him today.
Yeah, I mean, it's you want to play against the best players, and you could see after 1 minute, Asensio was starting to push me and try to beef with me a lot. So it's something I like, personally. I have to say, I don't mind it, and of course Rudiger as well. We've been having some great battles, and today he wanted a bit too much. He pulled me, so for me, clear penalty, and yeah.
Erling, we've got to let you go, but just before you do, fourth season now at Manchester City, attention's now going to turn back to the Premier League. What sort of mood do you think your club is in at the moment, and the experience you've had with this team to kick on and see out the rest of the season? Are you feeling like you're in a great position to chase down Arsenal?
I mean,
He's an Arsenal fan, you see.
Don't tell him that. Don't tell him that.
so she probably don't like me then.
No.
No, I mean, I don't like to speak too much about this because I think we should focus on ourselves, which City has been so good at for the last 10 years, just focusing on ourselves, don't thinking too much about others, just trying to win next game, and that's what we need to do. Now we need to focus on, who is it, Palace on Sunday, and and which is a really tough game, you know, and it's not easy, so we need to take game by game. Now it's a massive win, so it's about enjoying this now for a few hours, and tomorrow you need to recover as good as you can because games are coming. Look at the schedule; it's incredible, and it's about staying fit. This is the most important, to stay fit, and then take game by game and hopefully win on Sunday.
Yeah.
What's it been like for you this season? You've made more appearances already than the whole of the last campaign. Are you enjoying that extra responsibility?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm just taking it all in my stride. Every game as it comes, working hard every session, and yeah, I'm enjoying it. I'm loving it.
I know this wasn't a knockout match in the Champions League, but is beating Real Madrid away from home a benchmark when it comes to winning the Champions League?
Obviously, we know how good Real Madrid are. The history we've had, we've played them over the last few seasons, and they're so good. So, I mean, playing against these here and winning, it shows how good we're playing at the minute and the form we're on. So, yeah, I'll say we'll have a good chance.
What about your own form? How do you rank this performance from you this season?
I think the first few minutes I was a bit slow. I could have stopped the first goal, but I mean, yeah, I made up for it in the end.
Well, these guys think that you're the player of the match, so congratulations. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations on a brilliant win here at the Bernabeu, your first in 5 years in this brilliant rivalry with Real Madrid. How pleased are you with your team's performance?
Well, it could be better. Of course, winning Bernabeu was so difficult. Long 4, 5, 6 players played the first game here. So, of course, maybe we're not completely ready to play in these stages like we are, but it's a process and a lot of new players. But yeah, winning here is always have to be happy, especially in terms of points. You have 13 already, so it's in our hands to go games to finish in the first 8 and top 8. That is a target, and winning here after what happened in Leverkusen have been good.
You mentioned those new younger players that were playing here, some of them for the very first time. Who impressed you the most?
Well, I think Mateus Nunes plays good. All fullbacks for the first time. Ryan Cherky first time. Nico Gonzalez played last season, but today make an incredible performance. I think Jeremy always maybe was the first or the second. Jeremy helped us a lot with many things. So of course we did very good, but we started with other mistakes. So always I believe that when you have the ball and you can do it, but they didn't. I was expecting they could press higher, they drop, and we didn't find, and every pass was to don't lose, not to hurt them. But it happened, that's why it's what we have to improve, but okay, I take it.
Nico O'Reilly got his first ever Champions League goal here. What about his overall performance though?
No, top. So it's difficult for them, so Rodrigo is what a player, and Vinicius and Bellingham, and the pace that they have at front, so it's so... You know, it's so dangerous, and that's why you cannot stay high. You have to be so commit the way you have to defend, right? And we lack a little bit, but in general the effort was extraordinary.
Erling Haaland has 55 Champions League goals in 54 games. The Spanish press said a monster was coming to Madrid. Just how remarkable are those numbers in this competition alone?
Yeah, the numbers speak for itself. Numbers speak for itself. We have to find him more. He has to, be involved in the game, and he have not been the last 1 or 2 games. He didn't much involved, and have to reflect, have to think about it, what we can do in our way to make him more present in our game. But the numbers speak for itself.
I know this isn't a knockout match, Pep, but how far does winning against Real Madrid away from home set a benchmark in terms of potentially winning the Champions League this season?
We are away. Still, we are not ready. Still not. So the important is to 8, but in February will be better. And of course, if you play this kind of games, you are ready to go. So we have been here in the past, playing much better than today, and we lose, right? So football sometimes, and games in Manchester that we play good now, we play beyond. But the game should be over. The knockout game should be over, and at the end, come here is not. It's always difficult. So that's why I take it. The players make an incredible effort, an incredible good result. The spirit is unbelievable, but there's still margin to improve.
Thanks, Pep.
Thank you.
2 wins in the last 8 matches, and in the league, 4 points behind Barcelona now. What's not working right now?
I think it's probably a number of things, and obviously we're still trying to work it out kind of within the changing, regardless of what goes on outside. We know that kind of noise will not be helpful, so it's about us trying to figure it out inside the dressing room. I think one of the things that's probably quite obvious is how we're managing games at the minute. Certain points in the game where we have to suffer, feels like we always concede, and it puts us on the back foot and makes us maybe play in a way that we don't want to. But I think as a player inside the change room, seeing what we've got in there, working with the coach every day, I think we have everything we need to turn it around. It's just about, maybe a bit of luck, maybe a bit of bit more or something that, like I said, we need to discuss internally. But yeah, I've got full faith that this season isn't over just because we've been on a bad run of form, and obviously as players it kills us, and we're going to try everything to turn it around.
And the dressing room still fully behind the new manager?
100%. I think the manager's been great. I think I've personally got a great relationship with him. A lot of the lads do as well. I think after the first run of games where we drew a few, we had some really great conversations internally, and we felt like we were going to be on the backside of that bad form. And then in just the last couple of games again, just let ourselves down again. But like I said, no one's down in tools. No one's complaining, moaning, thinking the season's over. We'll have to take a bit of the chin, as they say, but we'll have to keep fighting and keep bouncing forward.
And just finally, all this noise around Real Madrid, and also noise around the England squad from a small section of the UK media as well. How do you manage all of that?
It's just life, isn't it, really? This is what I've signed up for. I play for the biggest club in the world and one of the most scrutinised countries in the world. I don't want pity, and I'm living the dream. People would die to be in the position that I'm in. It comes with a few people that are a little bit negative. That's fine. It comes around always. And like I said, I just roll with the punches. And I'm always focused on the football. And when that's good, that's good, and I'm happy. But the most important thing is that to me.
Thanks, Jude.
Mikel Arteta has made it clear that Arsenal will need to unleash their complete player against Bayern Munich. The Gunners host the German champions at the Emirates Stadium on Wednesday, and one man in particular could be decisive. Ebereki Eze, described as a very complete player by teammate Mikel Merino, is emerging as one of Arsenal's most dangerous weapons ahead of their Champions League clash with Bayern. The 27-year-old announced himself in North London with a stunning hat-trick in his first derby since arriving in a £67.5 million move from Crystal Palace. His 3 brilliant goals dismantled Tottenham, and truthfully, he could have scored even more. Merino believes every one of Arsenal's 8 summer signings has lifted the squad's level, helping the team build a 6-point lead at the top of the Premier League. But Wednesday's matchup is different. Bayern Munich, the reigning Bundesliga champions, represent the toughest test yet for Arteta's side. Speaking after the win over Spurs, Merino praised Eze's qualities and hinted at the impact he could have in such a high-stakes European battle. "We've brought in a lot of players who can make a difference. But you can see that other teams have spent big as well," the Spain international said. "Individual brilliance can win matches, sure, but in the end, it's the team that matters. If you have great players who don't connect, that's a problem. The good thing about this group is that everyone thinks about the team first." When asked about Eze specifically, Merino didn't hesitate. "I think he's incredibly complete. He can dribble, he can pass, and his technical quality is outstanding. In Spain, we always talk about players who can connect with others. He has that naturally. He grew up with that instinct to link play, move the ball, and build relationships on the pitch. He also has the mindset to get involved, demand the ball, and influence the game. At the same time, he's strong, he can take players on, and he can finish. He's a truly complete signing." Merino also touched on how the modern game often reduces players to simple numbers. "These days everyone judges players by goals and assists, that's just how it is. But as footballers, we see the deeper qualities he brings, the technique, the movement, the intelligence. Even in training, you can tell immediately how special he is. Yes, he's scoring goals, but he's much more than that. He's an exceptional player, and we're incredibly lucky to have him. He can play in several positions and adapt to different systems. He's been a huge addition for Arsenal. Beyond the technical qualities, Mourinho believes Iza's attitude and the healthy competition within the squad will be crucial in Arsenal's title push. You can hear the calm in Eberechi's voice and see it in the way he carries himself. He's confident, grounded, and every morning we sit together in the sauna at the training ground and talk about everything, he added with a smile. He's a great guy, already fully integrated, and we need players like him. Competition is fierce. There's so much quality in this squad. That's exactly what the manager wanted, as many top players as possible, all ready to play. It makes his decisions tough, choosing who starts and who doesn't, but it also pushes every one of us to give our best in every session. And that's why we're improving as a team. As Arsenal prepare for Bayern's arrival, Arteta is facing one of the most delicate balancing acts of the season. The squad is healthy, competition is fierce, and expectations have never been higher. But behind the scenes, there is a growing sense that Iza's versatility and calm presence may be essential against a Bayern side known for controlling the tempo in big European nights. Arteta himself has hinted at Iza's importance without naming him directly. After the Tottenham victory, the manager spoke about the need for players who can break pressure, dictate rhythm, and stay composed when the game becomes chaotic. Those inside the club believe those comments were aimed at Iza as much as anyone. The coaching staff has been particularly impressed by how quickly he has adapted to Arsenal's positional play structure, a system that demands far more tactical discipline than what he was used to at Crystal Palace. Analysts at the club point to his growing influence not only in the final third, but also in build-up phases, where his ability to glide past pressure could help Arsenal bypass Bayern's aggressive midfield line. There is also an awareness that Bayern's fullbacks tend to push high, leaving spaces between the lines. Iza's skill set, sharp turns, deceptive acceleration, and precise final balls, could be exactly what Arteta needs to exploit those gaps. Outside the club, pundits have already started circling Wednesday's match as a defining moment for the £67.5 million signing. Some believe that if Iza can impose himself on a Champions League quarter-final against Bayern Munich, it will confirm his arrival among Europe's elite creative players. Former players have echoed that sentiment. Several ex-Arsenal figures, speaking on television over the weekend, highlighted the need for someone who can change the temperature of the match with a moment of calm or an unexpected burst of creativity. Iza, they argued, is one of the few in the squad capable of both. Meanwhile, Bayern Munich come into the match with their own confidence. Their midfield trio has been one of the most dominant in Europe this season, and they have shown a repeated ability to suffocate opponents early. That dynamic is precisely why Arteta may lean on Iza's composure. When the game tightens, Arsenal will need a player capable of slowing it down, protecting the ball, and finding solutions in tight spaces. Within Arsenal's dressing room, Mourinho's praise reflects a broader consensus. Senior players have reportedly been struck by Iza's humility and work ethic, qualities that have helped him integrate seamlessly into a squad that already had strong internal chemistry. Staff members describe him as someone who never forces the game and lets the match come to him, characteristics that could prove invaluable in a high-tension Champions League tie. As kickoff approaches, the narrative surrounding the match has shifted. What began as a test of Arsenal's resilience has quietly become a spotlight on whether Iza can elevate them in Europe the same way he has in the Premier League. For Arteta, the equation is simple. If Arsenal are to overcome Bayern, they will need more than intensity. They will need control. They will need creativity. And increasingly, they will need the completeness Iza brings to every phase of the pitch. Whether he starts in a wide role as a floating midfielder, or even as an interior playmaker, the expectation is the same. Iza will have to find the spaces others cannot, and influence the game in ways that statistics alone will not capture. The stakes are high, the opponent is formidable, and the spotlight is intense. But within the walls of London Coney, the belief is growing that this is exactly the kind of stage Eberechi Iza was signed for. Martin Odegaard is nearing a return to action after suffering a medial collateral ligament injury in Arsenal's 2-0 win over West Ham earlier in October. Yet, 3.5 years after Mikel Arteta named him captain, the Norwegian finds himself in an unfamiliar position. His place in the starting lineup is no longer guaranteed. For the first time since joining the club permanently from Real Madrid in August 2021, there is real debate over whether he remains an automatic choice for Arteta's 11. Odegaard, now 26, has been central to Arsenal's resurgence under Arteta, the conductor who shaped the team's rhythm through some of their most fluid football. But this season, the Gunners have been forced to navigate long stretches without their captain, first due to a shoulder issue that kept him out of 4 matches in September, and then because of a knee collision with West Ham's Crescencio Somerville that sidelined him again. And during his absence, something significant happened. Ebereki Eze stepped into the spotlight. Eze's sensational hat-trick in the North London Derby has complicated the picture. Now thriving in a central role, the England international has given Arsenal a different kind of presence around the edge of the box. A blend of unpredictability, directness, and two-footed confidence that opponents struggle to contain. He may not control games with the same metronomic precision as Odegaard, but he offers a spark, a willingness to take risks at moments when Arsenal need a jolt of creativity. After such a standout performance against Tottenham, it feels almost impossible to imagine Arteta leaving Eze out. The manager has always had a soft spot for players riding a wave of confidence, and Eze is currently surfing at full height. There was a similar situation back in September, when Mikel Merino was handed a start against Manchester City after scoring 4 times in 2 games for Spain, including a hat-trick against Turkey. Arteta doesn't hesitate to reward form. Eze has carried that form onto the international stage as well, recently scoring a stunning goal for England in a 2-0 win over Serbia in the World Cup qualifiers at Wembley. Though he can play on the left, it has always been clear that Arteta brought him to the Emirates to operate in midfield. And with Declan Rice and Martin Zubamendi near untouchable in the double pivot, the odds of Eze and Odegaard consistently starting together seem slim. That leaves Odegaard in an unfamiliar position. He needs minutes to rebuild sharpness, yet Arsenal's medical team won't rush him. The plan is likely to ease him back through short substitute appearances before restoring him to larger roles. But even once fully fit, Odegaard faces genuine competition, because Eze has shifted the landscape. His arrival has raised the team's ceiling, and his performances have earned him the right to keep his place. Before the dismantling of Tottenham, Eze had scored only twice for Arsenal, one against Port Vale in the Carabao Cup and another versus his former club Crystal Palace, a clever finish that sealed victory. Now, with 5 goals across all competitions, he sits just 1 behind Odegaard's total from last season, when the captain made 45 appearances. Odegaard's 2023-24 numbers were outstanding: 11 goals, 12 assists, influence written across every competition. That is the standard he must match again if he wants to reclaim his spot, because Eze is hungry, confident, and eager to impress ahead of next summer's World Cup. Arteta will insist that Arsenal need both players at their best if they are to meet their ambitions in the months ahead. And with Kai Havertz also working his way back to full fitness, potentially slotting into midfield behind marquee striker Victor Gyökeres, the battle for places has never been fiercer at the Emirates. For Odegaard, the message is clear: he must rise to the challenge. His leadership and quality remain unquestioned, but he can no longer rely on reputation alone. If he embraces the competition and fights his way back into the side, his return could push Arsenal to even greater heights. And if the team has already reached this level without several key figures, the potential for what comes next may be even greater. Inside the club, staff members are quietly acknowledging that Arsenal are entering a new phase, one where no player, not even the captain, is immune to tactical evolution. Arteta has spent the past 2 seasons building a squad capable of sustaining pressure across multiple competitions, and the emergence of Eze is a sign that the manager's long-term planning is beginning to bear fruit. Depth is no longer a luxury, it is a necessity. But with depth comes difficult decisions. Arteta has always valued balance in midfield, and the contrasting profiles of Odegaard and Eze force him to reconsider what type of midfield best suits the team's ambitions in Europe and the Premier League. The technical control and spatial awareness that Odegaard brings have defined Arsenal's identity under Arteta. Conversely, Eze's dynamism, physical presence, and unpredictable touches give Arsenal a new dimension, especially against teams that sit deep or defend aggressively in central areas. This internal shift has also caught the attention of analysts and former players. Several pundits have begun to question whether the captaincy should guarantee a place in the lineup, especially at a club with ambitions of challenging for the Champions League. Others argue that Odegaard's leadership is too valuable to sideline, pointing to the standards he sets in training and his influence over younger players. Those debates are already spilling into the media, and they will only intensify as the season progresses. There is also the tactical question of whether Arteta might eventually experiment with a system that accommodates both Eze and Odegaard, something he briefly attempted earlier in the season during the win over West Ham. But with Rice and Zubimendi forming an almost impenetrable midfield pairing, any reshuffle risks destabilizing the defensive structure that has made Arsenal one of the most resilient teams in the league. The manager has hinted that he is open to adjustments, but only if they enhance the team's overall cohesion. For Odegaard himself, the challenge is as much psychological as it is physical. He has worked hard to cultivate an image of calm authority, a leader who raises the level of those around him through clarity and consistency. Now he must show that he can adapt, compete, and respond to adversity. His teammates still speak of him with admiration, describing him as one of the most studious and detail-oriented players at London Coney. They believe that once he regains full rhythm, he will naturally reassert his influence. Yet even they acknowledge that the landscape has shifted. One senior player privately remarked that, "The team is different now, ease has changed what we can do in the final third." That sentiment reflects not a lack of faith in Odegaard, but an understanding that Arsenal have evolved while he has been sidelined. For Arteta, the ideal scenario is straightforward: a fully fit Odegaard competing with a fully confident Ease, creating a level of internal competition that lifts the entire squad. The manager often speaks about the need for healthy tension among his players, pressure that keeps standards high without fracturing unity. The arrival of Victor Gyökeres, combined with the recovery of Havertz, only amplifies that dynamic. Arsenal's season will almost certainly hinge on these midfield decisions. With Champions League knockout matches approaching and the Premier League title race tightening, Arteta must decide not only who starts, but what kind of identity he wants his team to carry into the defining months of the campaign. The next few weeks will reveal whether Odegaard's return sparks a resurgence or a battle for relevance. If he manages to reclaim his place, it could serve as a reminder of why Arteta trusted him with the armband in the first place. If he struggles, it will underline how rapidly Arsenal are progressing, and how little room there is for sentiment at the highest level. Either way, the captain's response will shape not just his future, but the trajectory of a team that believes it is on the brink of something significant.